New this morning, a Sandisfield man pleaded guilty to possession of child pornography and an unregistered gun in federal court. During a search of 60-year-old Brian Holman's house last September, police found an unregistered sawed-off shotgun as well as a laptop that contained child pornography. He was immediately taken into custody, and a further investigation found that Holman had a second cell phone that also contained child pornography. Due to Holman's previous charges, he could spend 10 to 20 years behind bars, as well as face a $250,000 fine for the pornography charges. He could also be facing up to 10 years in prison and another $250,000 fine for that unregistered gun. Holman will remain in custody until sentencing, which is set for May 2nd.